Speaker, increase the volume. I can see.
Okay, good. Hi, Vinita. How are you?
See now. Yeah, thank you.
Vinita, can you hear me? Manish, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Just making sure Vinita can hear me. I can't hear Vinita. Can she hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, Vinita. Sony, क्या हुआ? Speaker.
You want to run your solution?
Now I can hear. Yep.
Okay.
Finished it?
Actually, color and all, I think still I need to explore more.
Looking at what Aishwarya has done for that for the assignment, looks pretty good actually. I think you covered a lot.
Yeah, the button and all. Then like color, I think the text box color, you put I think blue. Yeah, I need to explore more for that. Yeah, these are all blue, right?
Okay. Do you want to show your screen? Can you let me give you this link.
So everyone is moving fast?
No.
Okay.
It looks very nice.
We can't see your screen, whatever you're showing.
Yeah, Aishwarya is showing her screen. I'm going to share the link with Aishwarya.
So she has done something new?
She has done the assignment.
Okay. So she is teaching us then, right?
Yeah, that's a possibility. Manish, do you have the link to join the meeting?
Yes, I'm joined.
Yeah, can you send me the link?
This link, you mean?
Yeah, like which link did you click to join?
Let me send you in the chat window.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have it. Okay, let me give this to.
Discord, right? For the
Yeah,
I sent you
doesn't
the
look
email.
that much.
email.
In the subject.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
The screen sharing is taking a lot of time, man.
Yeah, Aishwarya is setting it up. Okay. Yeah, it's your name. Just put your name. The time. Now, can
No?
you go ahead and share? Do you have the option to share?
Share this one, green one.
Yeah, green one. Join with computer audio. Yeah. And then select those check boxes.
This one. Two.
Okay. Can you see Aishwarya's screen?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Can you then open your solution? Yeah. And then show you. So this is the one that I think you can mute your.
Yeah.
This one.
Things should be okay now. Can you see Aishwarya's screen?
It's coming from here, right?
Yes.
Okay. So here.
We cannot hear anything. Hello. We cannot hear anything.
You can log out, Aishwarya. Okay. Share off.
So this one is, I think. Oh, this is yours, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, mine is mute actually.
You just come out of it. Come out of the meeting. End the meeting.
Where is it?
Right here.
Please close that.
Yes, need to close.
Yeah, close it. So
Yeah,
leave
leave.
it. Okay. So let me also load the screen.
Can we create this one, Ashwant, in 5 minutes?
Yeah, I'll show you. So this one I click. Your screen.
Yeah, that's my screen. Oh, I need to. I have connected. Actually.
Oh, you have
Yeah.
only VR. Okay, only VR seeing. Let me show you.
How long it will to be to do this?
So here, this is a form, right?
Yes, not seeing the form. We are just seeing your screen, your face.
Okay. How about now?
He went somewhere.
Can you see the screen?
Yeah, now I can see the screen. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So here you can see that this is the query builder form. I created it this morning. Spent some time and did it. So Aishwarya also did it, which came out good. Now, if you see here, few of the things it's showing the same name, but the idea is to create the form.
Uh,
So let's go in here.
can we do from scratch for the dummies?
No, you have to try it on your own. Otherwise, we will be spending all our time creating the
Yeah.
form in the training.
Then only
So
they
if-
will learn, I think.
Yeah,
But we don't know how to create, right? We never tried ourselves, right? If we have done once,
So you go online and check.
yeah. So I think the approach we should take is you should give it a try, and if you can't, like, you should ask questions like where you are stuck. Then I can answer those questions. I can explain it to you again, like what happened. So in last class we saw how to load a form, right? A simple form.
Mhm.
When I say a form, it's a view, which is a CS/HTML file using ASP.NET MVC.
Okay.
So here right now my view is index.cs/html. In that I have written code to show the form. Basically, you can see here I have created, I have used Bootstrap classes, and I have created the form. Now, one thing so in last class we touched upon Bootstrap. One thing I want to also talk about in Bootstrap, and we'll come to this form, and what does each of these classes mean, and what's the importance of this, we will just look at it. But let me talk a little bit about Bootstrap before we jump into the form. We know that Bootstrap, it's used for responsive design, which is to make your form look good on any device. Right?
Actually, we covered these things here.
We covered.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
covered
I
in
didn't
here.
get the slides. Did you get the slides from Moshe?
No, I didn't
These
send these
slides-
slides,
these
so I
slides
plan
you
to
didn't
send the
send.
slide. So we didn't go through these slides, I think.
Yeah.
So
we covered a lot. Like for Bootstrap.
yeah, we talked about Bootstrap. So you can see here, Bootstrap has something called there's a concept called media queries that goes into CSS files, and anything that says @media is a media query. And this media queries is used to say that you want to apply certain CSS files or CSS styles to a device with minimum width of, let's say, 576 pixels. Then you'll go about writing that media query by saying @media and minimum width this, and then inside the brackets you will put your CSS classes. So in Bootstrap, what happens is that there are four. Well, let's see. There are you can see here there are 5 categories of devices that they classify. So there's an extra small called XS in short, and there is small called SM in short. Medium is called MD, large is called LG, and extra large is called XL. Your extra small is your phones in portrait mode. So if you put if your phone is this, like this is a portrait mode, you keep it up straight, then it's in portrait mode and it's less than 576 pixels. And then anything that's between 576 and 768 is your phone in landscape mode. and anything between 768 and 992 is your tablet, and anything that is greater than 992 but less than 1200 is your laptop screen, normal screen. Extra large is you have those big screens, right? You have those TV screens, or you have really big screens, anything greater than 1200 pixels. So pixels is nothing but the size of your screen, right?
Oh,
So that's what pixels means. So when I say, when you look at any screen, there is a certain pixel that is, that screen, the number of pixels defines the size of the screen. Now, why are we talking about screen sizes? What Bootstrap has done for our convenience is that they have defined classes, and classes. These classes are prefixed by either call hyphen or call sm hyphen or call hyphen md hyphen and so on, that we can apply to a form, so that the form will change based on the classes that we have applied and based on where we are, on which device we are seeing it. So that's the idea of these classes. Now, any screen that you take, Bootstrap divides it into 12 columns. You can see it, but there are, when it does all the calculations, the assumption is that there are 12 columns on the screen. And then it applies these classes. Now, what is gutter? Gutter width is the distance between two columns. Is called gutter. So there's a on each side of the column there is a 15 pixel gutter. And what I mean by that is, okay, let me show you that. If I open a PPT, blank presentation. So if you see any screen, right? If I take a screen, that screen will be divided into 12 columns. Any browser screen. When you are talking about Bootstrap classes, it assumes that there are 12
Lines.
lines, exactly. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We need
Basically, it's a content targeting framework, right? Device targeting framework, right?
exactly.
And it's a framework is used everywhere. In any language you see, it's a link is there for the Bootstrap. It will make it responsive.
Exactly.
And SharePoint, we are using it.
Exactly. It's a very powerful framework, and a lot of all the, like you said, all the languages, Java, SharePoint, .NET, Angular, jQuery, all of them, all anywhere there where there is web application development and web applications that need to be viewed on small devices like phones or tablets, you have to use Bootstrap. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. There are 12 partitions here. Now, what is gutter width? Gutter width is this, the space between, if you take these two columns, like if I call this column A, and I call this column B. Then what is gutter? Gutter is the space that's there between column A and B. In between there's some space, that's the gutter. what is the length? What is the width of that gutter? It's 15 pixels each side. So column A on the right has 15 pixels. Column B on the left side has 15 pixels. So total put together, it's 30 pixels. That's what it means. Okay. So it is important for you to keep this sizes in mind and to be able to relate the class prefixes. When I say call SM, you should know that okay, we are applying this class so that it appropriately, the form appropriately shows for a device that is a small device. A small device is a phone in a landscape mode. And if I'm applying call MD, it is for a device like a tablet. It could be a Samsung tablet. It could be a Apple tablet, like a yeah. So it could be any. It could be from any company. Okay. Now keeping this in mind, let's go back to our form. So Aishwarya, in your form, I think you probably did not use Bootstrap classes.
Yeah, I used actually.
You used?
Yeah.
So like, for example, you use this class row?
Yeah.
You did?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Then
And
I
then
divided each column like the bigger one. I selected for 3, like 12.
Bootstrap?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, good. So so that's actually good. See, part of the reason I gave that exercise was you will also do some exploration. And though we didn't learn about SM and
Yes.
MD and this 12 partition of the screen into 12 columns.
What is this offset test that I didn't use?
Okay, sure. We'll look at that. So what happened here is, let me show you. So here, okay, this is like H1 query builder. That's what we are seeing on this form, right? And then for the add method, for the add button, what I did is I opened a new div, right? And I gave it class row. So as soon as you say class equal to row, anything that is within this div, so where is the end of this div? It's here, right? As soon as you click on the div, you can see the bottom is highlighted. Anything within that div will be divided into 12.
One row has
One row has
13. I mean 12.
Can you send us
12
this
cells? Yeah, 12 columns.
Yeah.
Ashwan, can you send us this project file? Can we open on the desktop?
Yeah, I will send it.
Oh.
I will upload it at the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So the row. Now what happened here? I did a div class equal to row, and then inside that I have 2 divs now. Right. Now let's look at the first div. I have class equal to call 12. Any guesses what this is? What this means?
Column, 12 columns.
No, that row, it has
12 columns. Yeah.
Sure. And call 12 means, okay, let's go back to the slide.
It's the name of the class. It can be anything, right?
It's a name of a class that applies to extra small.
Okay.
So I said call and I said 12. Means that on a small device, like a phone, the add button will take the whole width. Let's confirm that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize, I'm going to make this like a phone now, the screen. And let's look at what happens to the add button. The add button has its own row. It took the whole, see previously the add button, there's an add button and then there's this test 1 drop down. But as soon as it went into a phone mode, the add button has the whole row. Now the add button width is limited to that because the text is only this much. If I increase the text, if I make it, let's say add order, add orders, right? And I refresh this. So add orders. Similarly, if I put I'm just putting a long name for the button. Add orders. I mean, this is nobody puts it like this, but the reason I'm doing it is I want to show you how it. See, it's aligned. See that. So now if I get out of this mode, right? I have the button and I have another control on the same row. But as soon as so this is the normal the MD mode. What is the MD mode? Sorry, not the MD mode. It is the LG mode. LG mode is the desktop mode, right? MD mode is the tablet mode. LG mode is a normal desktop or laptop, like the small screen. And XL is a big screen, right? Like a TV. Now, in the LG mode, which is what this screen is right now, there are two controls on the same row. But as soon as I shift to phone mode, there's only the button and the other one got wrapped down. Now, why is that happening? No, there's a reason. Let's look at the code. What am I saying here? I'm saying class call 12, which means that for a portrait phone, you occupy the entire row. Call SM1 for a landscape phone, and anything greater than that, you occupy only one cell. So SM1, SM-1 means occupy only one cell. And if you only specify SM, right, then it assumes that anything greater than SM also will follow the same rule. Now, if I say, let's say if I say SM12, I'm just going to comment this guy out for. I say SM12. Before that, let's do SM1. I want to show you something. Let me refresh this page. Where did that? So that add row button, this add orders button, right? Let's say I make it a tablet size. This is a tablet size. Now I said add SM1. So which means that it will still take the first. Okay, I need to give you a better example.
So for like each device, we need to like find it out which call SM or call MD like that, right?
For each, it depends on what your form, how you want to design your form.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. So if we are like developing for like a tablet, then we need to select SM. For like a bigger screen, then MD, something like that.
When you write the code, you write it for all the devices.
Oh yeah, okay.
So you can put more than one. So if I'm putting call 12 and call SM1, I'm saying how should this behave in a tablet? How should it behave on a phone? How should it behave on a desktop? That's what these classes are trying to say. So let's say that I put SM. I think we need two here. So one and one more here. And SM, let's say SM1 again. Now let's see what happens. So I got add orders. Let's say remove orders. Okay. So I did add orders, but see what happened here is there's only one add orders visible but there are 2 in the button. That's because the size that we gave is 1. So let's make it 2. Okay, so now we're getting add orders, and remove orders. Now let me do this. Let me give it a border so that you guys can see the border. I'll say style border equal to, I'll say thick. Then I'll say style border equal to dashed. Let's refresh this. Style border. Started. So let's solve it. Okay. So you see, the amount of space that was available for the first button is what is showing in the solid enclosure. The amount of space available for the second button is what is showing in the dashed enclosure. But in this case, since the button had more text, it is kind of pushing into the next cell. Let's say that I do this. Okay. Now you see that enclosure available. This is the enclosure available for each of the buttons. Now let's do this. One. I'm going to show you all the 12 columns. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Refresh. This is the enclosure that's available. So as soon as I put one more, right, it will go to the next row, or it should go. It went. So it won't accommodate more than 12 enclosures. Now your question may be like, hey, why is the text going into the next enclosure? Well, that we will have to kind of adjust and play around. So don't worry about that. That will take care of itself. But the idea is that there are 12 of these 12 cells available for you in the screen. If you try to put a 13th one in a row, then it will go into the next line. Now I'm going to get rid of 2 of them. Get rid of this one. So we have 12 cells in a row. Remember it that way. So let me show you something else. Now I say SM6 and SM6, and I'm going to refresh. Now what it did is, for devices that are of size SM and above, so SM means portrait phone, and anything above, which means a tab or a smaller desktop or a larger desktop, it will put add orders. It will take the first 6 cells to put add orders, and then it will take the next 6 cells to put remove orders. So your remove orders will come only after 6 cells. That's why the remove orders came right. Now let's say if I resize this and make it a phone. Add orders went in one row, remove orders went in the other one. Because we said call 12 and call 12, which means if my call 12 is your portrait phone. If it is a phone device, then add order should take all the 12 cells. That's why we have here it took all the 12 cells. There are no, it took the entire size. Because remove orders has come down when it is a phone mode. Are you able to get this? Or are there any questions? Feel free to ask questions because I want you to understand this concept.
You got it. There are different type of classes, and each class does certain things, right? It can arrange 12 rows, 6 rows, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Depending on the class. So do we have anything where written somewhere, okay, this Bootstrap class has some meaning on that one?
Yeah, it is there in the getbootstrap.com website.
Okay, got it.
So now if I do MD, I do 3, and I do call MD 3. Any guesses what will happen if I refresh the screen?
Yeah, 3, 3, 6, then another 6 will be there.
6 and another 6 will be there.
First,
For which device?
That is medium.
For the medium device.
Tablet.
Is 3
Tablet.
and then
yeah,
small
like
S6.
this one, this screen, laptop.
Medium is tablet and medium is tablet. But if I haven't given LG or Excel, then LG and Excel will follow the same as MD because MD is the closest one to that. So now, if I'm viewing it on a desktop, how many cells will add orders take?
12.
On a desktop.
So here div class equals, that means there are 3 classes, right?
Yes, there are 3 classes. Each class is for a different device.
Correct. So basically that class is, we are targeting to 3 different devices, right?
Yes.
So whatever that classes mean in that Bootstrap, it will show on that one, correct?
Correct. My question is on a desktop, if I'm viewing it on a desktop, how many cells will the add orders button take?
12.
Why?
No, it's 3.
3, sorry.
3. Okay, good.
You're gonna meet.
So if this is my desktop, that whatever you're seeing right now. So it took 3, and there is 3 and 3 more, so which makes it 12. Now I'll resize it. I made it a phone. It took 12 and 12. And now I'll make it a landscape phone. What happened? How much did it take? 6 and 6. That's what we're seeing here. SM6, SM6. Make sense? Manish, sounds okay?
Yeah. It's a class basically, right? We are targeting a device. It will be there on the Bootstrap, right?
Sure.
As long as we know how to stick the class and what you want to stick, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I'm going to get rid of this now. Let's go back to our original example. Control.
So normally based on the requirement, we need to define this class, right? For
Yes.
that device.
Yes. So here, I have 2 divs, and for SM, I have for the first so row means 12. As soon as you have class equal to row, anything inside that has 12 cells. Now for the 12 cells, for the first div, for the SM, I'm giving 1. Then I gave offset SM9, and then I said call SM2. What this does is that in the first cell, for any device that is SM and above, it will give 1. It will take the first cell. Then for any devices SM and above, I have mentioned offset SM9, which means that the next 9 cells don't do anything. Offset it. So once you offset it, how many cells are over now?
The 9 and 1, right?
One is here,
One is there.
The 9
and then 9 is offset. So how many SM columns are there left?
8.
No, 12 minus 9, whatever is that.
12 minus 9. But instead of 12, it should be 12 minus 10, right? Because 1 is already gone here.
Oh,
See
Okay,
that?
then 2.
2, correct. So now that's why I'm saying call SM2. So when I say call SM2, whatever is there in this will take how many cells?
2.
Exactly, right. So remember that class row is 12 cells. Anything inside that is based on what you define, okay? Number of cells you define. So that's why this select is a drop down. So select took, let me refresh this. Select took 2 columns. To be sure, you say style border equal to dashed. Refresh it. These are 2 columns. So in between whatever is there, 9 columns, we said offset. Don't do anything. Why we are doing that? Why should I give an offset? What is the purpose?
It's like a-
Alignment, right? Where I want to place the controls. I want to keep somewhere in the left, somewhere in the right. It gives me that flexibility to move it around. Okay, cool. Now, then I
Actually,
have,
instead of that, I use text align sender, something like that.
sure,
I searched.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, no problem. Then you have the next row. So one row is up here. Let me minimize that. Then I gave a breakpoint. And then I put another row. And I said, call SM3, call SM3, call SM3. I have 3 of them. So how much space should these drop-downs take on a desktop? These are 3 drop-downs. How much space, how many cells, when I say space, how many cells should each of these drop-downs take in that 12 cells that are allocated to the row?
I think 3.
3 each, right? Correct. So 3 will be empty. So the 3 to the right, I just left it empty because I don't need it. I need only the first 3. Then I want to jump to the next row. So then what I did, I defined another row. And again, I defined 3. And then again, now, but in the third row, in the second row, I want to utilize the last 3 also. So I put another 3. So there are 4 threes here, 1, 2, 3, 4, which makes it 12. And then I put a button called delete. So that's why we're seeing a delete button here. Similarly, for the next row, I put 4 divs, each of SM3, and that's why I have 4 controls in this row, in the third row. Make sense? Similarly, so see, the other thing is, did you use a form control class in your
I use for just
form?
control.
So if let's say that I get rid of this form control, right? What happens? So that's again a bootstrap class. See how my dropdown looks. Do you prefer this dropdown or this dropdown? Do you prefer the third row dropdown or the second row dropdown?
Yes, yes.
See the beauty that Bootstrap is adding to your form. It really transforms your form. It looks more professional. That's the whole thing. So one is to give you like make it align based on the device, or make it we call it responsive design based on the device. It aligns itself. Second is it beautifies it. It gives it a whole new professional look. So I'm going to put back that class equal to form control. Okay, then I did two buttons in the next row called submit and save. That's what you're seeing here. If I want to change the color of it, I can do it. I can say button, I say BTN
And color.
primary. Then it will become blue to indicate that it is a primary button. Now, if I want to make it a large button, I can do BTN LG.
And so easy, right?
So easy.
If you add CSS, it's so hard, you know, you have to inspect element and this and that.
Yeah. Yeah. So Bootstrap gives you a lot of classes. So this should be your reference website, getbootstrap.com.
Yeah.
It has all the documentation that you need here about the different components, drop downs, carousel, buttons. So if you go to buttons, you can see all these different colors. If you want a warning button or a danger button, then you need to say BTN danger, and then the color will change to red. So you can do all these fancy things. So you can see as I'm hovering on the button, the color changes. So all these fancy things you can do with Bootstrap. Change the size, large, small, activate, deactivate, the active state, disable state. You see how the colors have changed for disable state. I need to say disable. If I add the button disable, if I add the class, if I add the word disable, then the button will be disabled. So let's come here and just say disable. Yeah, disabled is not a Bootstrap thing. It's a HTML thing. But where does that go? Okay. I'm going to refresh the screen. See, the button's disabled now. Change the color. Became more lighter, right? You can play around and do a whole lot of things. Okay. Now let's jump back to the form. Then I did a table, and I just I gave the same name for all the columns, but I think the assignment it give different names. So you should do different names here. I mean, this is just a sample one I'm giving right now, but you should give the different names. So when I refresh this, it will get the new header names. And then here, if you see, I said table striped.
So these are basically a solution file that has been created for this one. These are views, right?
This is a view, yes.
Can you expand the right-hand side just for things what we are doing for the understanding?
So the file that we are looking at is text.cshtml.
Okay. So on the views, we are just sticking the HTML. That's it, right?
Yeah, CSHTML means C# HTML.
What is ID is equal to saved query? Selected.
How we are using the controller briefly.
Saved query selected.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
Ask that again.
How? Okay, now this basically we are taking HTML for rendering purpose, right? And what about in controller? How we are integrating?
Yeah. So in controller, this is the view that's called. This is the controller method that's called. So when I load this page, this is the control first comes to the controller. The execution first comes to the controller, and then the controller executes the code and it says return view. Now the view associated with this method, so the methods in the controllers are called action methods of return type action result. This view, this method, action method is returning a view. The view is index.cshtml. That's how we are seeing the view on our UI.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now this is so So this is the Bootstrap part. To cover. So this is the same thing that's being told in the slides. What is the size? How is it? So your question may be, okay, where is this all this is mentioned? Okay, I can show that to you so that you know where it is. So if I come to if you go to your solution file, and then if you go to content, there is a file called bootstrap.css. Now in bootstrap.css, I'll go and search for 576. So you see these are media queries. So this says that for a device with minimum width 576, if you are using a class called container, then the maximum width will be 540. Similarly, if you are using the same class container, but if the device width minimum width is 768, then the max width is 720. So what based, see again, we have different media queries for different sizes. What is this? What kind of, if you have to relate this to C#, what kind of loop is this? Is this some kind of a loop? Is it some kind of a conditional statement? It's like a if condition, right? Saying if my minimum width is this, then do this.
Yeah.
So media queries is like based on what you want to say here. Like you're saying, if my minimum width of the screen is this, then my class should have these properties. Same class. One thing you need to notice is the reason we use media queries is because the class name is the same, but we are varying the properties of the class, which in this case is the max width, based on the min width. Instead of min width, I can say, let's say,
Why do we put add media? Why do we put media?
at media is a keyword. For your media means your device.
Oh, okay.
The way you write CSS is the same thing, basically. We are using their framework, right, at media.
Yeah, at media is not only for Bootstrap. You can even have an at media in your own CSS class. So that's a standard. Bootstrap is, they have made it, they have come up with more CSS classes, and they have some JavaScript classes, and they have put it together like a tool set which we can use and make our life easy.
So any company you work, right, you have a designer. Their job is to just make it look better. For developer, they don't touch HTML and CSS, what I have seen. They don't touch. They are only focused on the functionality, right?
It depends on the company. I mean, the company that, like in Toyota, the developers, they do both the screen design and they do the coding as well.
Okay, it depends on the company. In my company, they don't touch it. The
Okay.
Bootstrap and this entire thing is done by the designer.
Okay, yeah. So this is for like SharePoint development, you mean?
Yes, SharePoint or provider hosted app, .NET also.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so we saw this, then, yeah, Bootstrap provides all these different controls. Okay, any questions on Bootstrap?
I don't think so.
Good.
Also, no, me too glad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you need to keep trying. There's so much to explore.
So much.
Yeah.
And you start watching one video, it gets so interesting, and then you realize, oh no, we have to watch this. And then you go a third and then fourth.
Don't get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Right? There's
Better
a
that site, Bootstrap site, right?
Yeah.
You need to explore there.
Bootstrap. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
get
I think that's
bootstrap.com.
that's the better.
So don't get don't make your mind become tired because there
It
is
gets
so
tired very
much.
fast.
Yeah, so that can happen. So just take a form.
I think that is the best medium. That site.
Yeah, you have good information in that.
Yes.
Take
So
a form and apply the concepts, and then you'll gradually keep learning.
I started the plural site, but this never ending. That's the thing, It goes on. Videos are unlimited.
Yeah. Okay, that's true.
And the more you do, more you get confused, right? Unless you practice yourself.
Yep,
Sursa ka muh hai.
that's true. Now I want to go into. I see the what where we are going towards is the next step is I want to now hook up the server side to a database now. Once we are able to hook up the server side, when I say server side, the controller code to the database.
Okay.
And then once we do that, then we want to be able to send information from the form to the controller. So far, we haven't sent information from the form to the controller, have we? No, we have not, right? There are ways to send the information from the form. When I say form, the view, to the controller. Okay, I have a question here. Why do you need to send information from the form to the controller?
Because controller will
No, if we enter
help
something,
us.
no, we need to.
So there are functions basically on the controller, right? That binds the data from the view, right?
Yeah. Let's go one at a time. So yeah, go ahead, Shalini. What you're saying?
Okay.
What is the reason to? What is the reason to send information to the controller? Do I need to send information to the controller in the first place?
Yeah, because controller will send it to the view. The interface. The user interface.
Okay, let me rephrase my question. I have a view.
Yeah.
I have a form, which is a form, right? View is what I see on the browser.
Yeah.
It is on my computer. Let's say I'm doing Amazon.com. What I see on my browser is my view.
Okay.
Now you put in you search in the department, you go and search handbags. Like handbags, right? My wife likes handbags, so she's always behind handbags. So you put handbags. That is when you put handbags and you click search. It goes and does something and then returns you all the handbags pictures, right? Now, what is happening there? Like when you put handbags and click search, you put handbags in the browser, right? Which it doesn't know about Amazon.com at all. It's whatever it is static HTML what you're seeing. But you need to be able to communicate with Amazon.com.
The model thing will come, right? MVC model.
The model will come. Yeah. So my question is, why do you need to communicate with the controller? So that you can get back. You need to send some information and save it maybe in the database, or you need to go and fetch something from the server. Because the server code, remember, like the architecture is that you don't like handbags. You became very serious when I said handbags. So the architecture is that you have a client. Then you have a server.
Client sends a request to the server.
Correct. And then you have a database. It's sitting on a different server. It's a database server. Right? Now, if I have, so this one shows HTML, right? It shows me HTML. But if I have to, HTML means what? Some set of controls like buttons, text boxes. I need to be able to put some information and then I need to do something, right? How do I do something? I need to go and contact the server. The server need to be able to receive the inputs that is sent by the client, right?
And then fetch it from the database.
Fetch it from the database. Server needs to serve the client by receiving inputs from the client. See, that's the connection between the client and the server. And then server needs to go and fetch information from the DB. DB has like humongous amount of data, humongous data. The server itself doesn't have any data. The server itself is doing the job of going and talking to the database and giving that data to the client. Make sense? So all the list of bags that we are seeing, handbags that we are seeing in Amazon, when you say handbags, you type all that list of handbags, those images are all sitting in the database. So the server is going, the client is telling the server is going to the DB, getting all that list and sending it back to the client. Only then my job is done. So far we defined controllers in the server, we defined HTML in the client, but we had a communication from the server to the client because we sent some models, right? But there was no initiation from the client saying, hey, I need something, send it to me. We automatically send some information to the client. But what if the user clicks on a button? I need to send some information from the client to the server and get back some information. We haven't seen that so far, right? Make sense?
Right. So that is called two-way handshake, right?
Two-way handshake, yeah, that's right. Now, actually, I have some code for that. Let me actually show you that so that you get a sense of completeness. I have this file called order. Let me get rid of this. Order.js. It is what is a JS file?
JavaScript.
JavaScript file. Good. Now, this JS file has some code in it. I'll explain what's in here. Now, what I did is that in my index.cshtml in the bottom, I gave a reference to order.js. How did I do that? I came here. My order.js is sitting under scripts. I created it. I take this, I drag it and drop it here.
Yeah.
So it then creates, right? It creates this. I did this. Now, what am I saying here? In order.js, now there's this other concept called JQuery that comes into play. Let me explain JQuery. JQuery, before JQuery came, it was JavaScript. When JavaScript was there, it was 10 lines of code. When JQuery came, it became 5 lines of code. So,
Ashwant?
yeah.
You need to change your class title, How to Become a .NET Developer in 24 Hours.
Sorry, man, is it too much of information?
No. I know, man. jQuery, I have used it. JavaScript, I have used it.
Okay.
I'm saying for others.
Yeah, I know it's a overdose of information. Are you feeling like too much of technology and too much of...
But we have 1 week, right? So we will go through.
Go through it?
Yeah.
Yeah, feel free to ask questions.
But see, that's a norm. That's what everybody is doing. Everybody's studying. Everybody knows all this. That's how you keep up.
Yeah.
It's not just us. Everybody is doing it. That means it's doable.
Yeah.
It's doable. You have to practice every day. Not a big deal, right?
JavaScript. No fill, no fill. jQuery. Angular. Our focus will be on Angular, but I want to give you an overview about jQuery so that you're aware of what it is. So jQuery came first before Angular. jQuery is, if you go to jQuery the better site will be jQuery.org. Yeah, you'll get everything here, all the information that you need. So this is again an open source project. What they did is they tried to make the coding of JavaScript easy. They came up with a set of classes. So if you come here, plugins, JS Foundation, join, support, contribute, documentation. So they came up with code, open source. Documentation. Issues are
jQuery is a framework similar to hundreds other framework, right?
yes.
And you can tick the code in the top of the page and whatever works for you, right?
Yes. So jQuery has a set of API documentation. All these helper functions.
Oh, I
so
can
you
learn
have,
API from there. API documentation.
huh?
I can learn about API from there.
Yeah, these are all APIs. So all methods are APIs. So there's a lot of documentation here. So in simple terms, jQuery is, they have created a layer to make JavaScript coding simple, and they have added APIs. Same thing with Angular. They have even further simplified it. Angular is from Google. This is also open source. This is again JavaScript. They have simplified JavaScript. So we'll look at jQuery first. Now, when you say jQuery, what happens in terms of the solution file is that these files, jQuery -3.3.1.js. This is the file that has all the logic for us to be able to use the APIs. Now this file is included in our layer.cshtml. So you see there's a bundles/jQuery. You remember bundles? We go to bundle config. What does bundles jQuery contain? It contains script/jQuery -version, whatever version it means. So the version that we have here is 3.3.1.js. So this is where all the code for jQuery is, that file. Is it getting cold? Feeling okay?
And you want ibuprofen?
When I go to go
Yeah.
to take
I have.
sinus, not ibuprofen, the other one for sinus it is lavender. Actually, for exploring, I took around 2-3 days.
So if I see the size of jQuery, if I right click on scripts and I say open folder in File Explorer, if I come to jQuery, it's 266 KB. That's all. But then there are other parts to jQuery, but the basic jQuery is in 266 KB.
That we can learn.
It's a quarter of MB. We don't have to learn by going into this file. We will be using the methods of that jQuery provides. And we'll look at one example here. So if I come
on the web, everything is there. You should know how to copy and paste. Everything is there. Correct?
Right. That's right. Now, if I come back to the index.cshtml, what I did is, you remember in JavaScript, we wrote a click event. We had a button and we clicked on it and we showed something.
Yeah.
Same thing with jQuery. jQuery also provides a click button. So that's what we're going to do. So you see, for this button, submit, which is on this form, right? This button. Somewhat is able to just get it up. I gave it an ID called btn submit. Now, in my JS file, your jQuery also, you write it in your JS file only. It's not a different file format. Now, if I go to my order.js, your jQuery, anything with respect to jQuery proceeds with a dollar symbol. So what it's saying is dollar of btn submit, hash btn submit. You remember when we were doing our CSS classes, we used hash ID. Remember? We used hash ID for something. Let me see if it's still there. It's not there here. Hash btn submit. What is btn submit? Button. ID of the button. So any ID of the HTML. So when you say HTML, right, there's another term called DOM. I don't know if you heard about it, but
Document object model.
Document object model. So the browser, all this elements, right, it's going on the browser, right? If I right click this and I say view source, you can see all this classes, forms, controls, divs, all this is going on the browser. This whole thing is called document object model, DOM, right? So jQuery can be used in DOM manipulation. When somebody says jQuery can be used in DOM manipulation, it means that to read the controls in the DOM. What are the controls in the DOM? Div elements, button elements, these are all controls in the DOM. To manipulate it, to read the contents of the elements, to change the contents of the element, you can use jQuery. Now what am I doing here? I'm trying to get the click event of the button using jQuery. So I'm saying $ in double quotes hash btn submit dot on click do this function. It is a little difficult syntax to understand, but once you get it, you'll know it. Let me break it up. So this is actually a function.
So actually, in which folder we are writing this one?
This one we are created a separate file. See the same thing. I can also have it in my. If I go to my index.cshtml, I can create a script tag. I can have multiple script tags. I can say type equal to text JavaScript. Can do this. So to not to separate out jQuery or JavaScript and HTML, we are taking this and putting it in a separate file. Better readability, so I don't get confused. Yeah, it's easy to reference and it's easy to look at all the JavaScript code in one place. So I just moved it to a different file, and I'm referencing that file here. It's same as this. So I'll just get rid of this. Okay, we don't need this. Now, I come to here. What I'm saying is on click, do this function. Oh, this looks too difficult to remember. Well, everything is there in the documentation. Let's say click event. Okay. Oh, so if I just say click, it's giving me all these options. So click handler, click event data handler. So it's a click. Okay. Click. Oh, we are selecting on. Okay, on click. We'll do on. If I come here, the documentation says on event. Whatever is in square brackets is optional. Handler. What is a handler? What is an event handler? What is an event? Any guesses? What's an event? What is an event? Click is an event, right?
Click is event. On click. Yeah.
Anything that will an action that the user does will generate an event. So, and what is an event handler?
Basically, we are writing a function, right?
Function.
Writing a function
On the on-click event.
on-click event. So what does the function do?
It does certain things, like when you do a click, it will do certain things, right?
Right. So it's a handler for the event. So it means that when that event happens, this function will get called.
Correct.
Right? So that's the syntax. Now, if you see ours, say on, what is our event? Click. What is our event handler? This function. So this function will be called when click happens. That's
Correct.
what it means. Now I'm going to run this code. Okay. Before I run the code, let's understand more here. Now, I'm saying dollar hash saved query. What is saved query? Saved query.
So how did we go back? Like, remember, you did right click and did something.
I'm using control tab.
So it's not like a view definition or seek, something like that is not there.
It is not. It is there. I mean, if I define a function here in this, it will. I can go to the function, but here I'm not calling any function, right? So here I'm just switching the files. I'm just doing a control tab and switching between the files. So here, saved query is an ID for this select element. What's a select element?
Drop down.
So which drop down is this? This is after the add orders, there was a drop down. Where did that go? Oh, here it is. Okay. This drop down. So saved query, I've given it an ID. Then what I'm doing in order.js, I'm saying .val and assigning that to single values. What does that mean? Whatever value you select in the drop down, that value will be fetched and be assigned to single values.
Right. So we are defining as a variable and we are storing into single values.
Correct. Exactly. Then I'm defining another variable, form data, equal to angular brackets. Not angular brackets. This is flower brackets. What is this? What is this? When you use flower brackets, what does it mean in JavaScript? Do you remember?
Open and close.
Yeah, it's an object. So
Okay.
form data, I'm saying query data, which is a string, equal colon single values. What are single values? A variable here. Now which means that this element is getting a value of single values, which is in this object, right? Form data is an object. Now forget about console.log. That's for we don't need that. Now I'm calling, this is an AJAX call. Now what is an AJAX call? AJAX is a way to send data from your form to a controller.
Ajax is a way to send
Data from your form
from your form
It's a REST API basically, right?
to a controller.
to a controller. REST API will be on the server side. This is more on the, this is on the client side. From the client side, we are calling a REST API, you can say, or we are calling a controller method.
Or JSON, you can say JSON, right?
JSON is a data format. We will look at JSON in a while. So this is a way to send data, you can say. It is a mechanism to post data.
And Ajax is only in jQuery, right?
Ajax is there in jQuery. There's a different way to post data in Angular, but Ajax is there in jQuery, JavaScript and jQuery. Now, when you say Ajax, what it expects is, hey, good, you want to use me, but what is the URL where you want to send data? Then I'm saying home/get query data. So what does it, and the way it understands is home is a controller. Get query data is an action method in the controller. So do we have such a thing today? Let's go check. So in the in the controller, the home controller.cs, I already wrote a method called get query data. Okay.
We don't see it, no? Okay, it's there.
Okay. Now, what do I need to do? I need to post the data. Post it.
So that's keyword.
Like posting a letter. Yeah, it's a keyword. You have post, get, we are posting the data. Now, what is the data you want to post? This is the way you tell. Data, colon, it's a keyword. Data, colon, form data. This can be any name. I just took form data, right? Okay. Then, what should I do if it is successful? Once the post is successful, what should I do? Once the post is successful, and if I get a response back, then the response will come in D. And with D, you can do anything. So when I say you can do anything,
if you say D, it can be ABC also, right? Anything.
It can be ABC also.
Yeah.
Don't need to declare that one anywhere.
You don't need to declare that. So I can do ABC as well. I can
We,
put ABC.
can we make it something we remember, or what's the best?
Generally, we say data.
Okay.
Or we say result.
Okay.
So we know this is a result that has come back from the server. Now the result that has come back from the server, what am I doing with the result? If it is successful, if I get a response back, I'm saying $#saved query selected. What is this? Let's go check in our CSHTML or index.cs. Yeah. So I defined a div just like that. You asked, why do we have this saved query selected? So I defined a div with this ID, and I'm assigning the response to that div so that I can see on the UI. That's the whole purpose. Right? I want to show you a communication that initiated from the browser, went to the server, server sent a response back. We are showing it on the client. That's what I want to show you. Let's execute this. Now, when this Ajax makes this call, if I put a breakpoint on my controller, it should stop there. It means that the call has been made to the method of the controller. The method is get query data. Okay. I'm going to refresh this. Now I'm going to it was on the submit button. I'm going to click the submit button. Let me do a F12 so that I can see what's happening, because I wrote some console.logs as well in here in the order.js. I wrote some console.log for the form data and console.log for the response. Well, let's put result here. Now it's changed.
What is console.log? Does it show on that F12 window on the console?
Exactly, yes. It shows on the browser console window. So every browser has a console window. So this is if you do an F12, then you'll get a window below, and one of the tabs is a console. So it shows in the console window.
If you don't specify, it won't show on the console?
If you don't say console.log, it won't show.
Okay.
So I'm going to now click on submit, right? So my controller got the focus. So which means that my Ajax post happened and some data was sent. Okay, I sent some data. Did the data come here? Let's check. So what did I send? I sent form data. And the form data had single values. Single values was whatever was selected in the text box, in the drop-down box. So was something selected in the drop-down box? Test 1. So what should my controller method, what should this contain? Query data? Should it contain anything? The parameter query data? Test one. Test one has come. So whatever data you post, that data will come as a parameter here. And now what I'm doing is I'm saying string result equal to hello plus queries data. I'm just making some dummy. And I'm returning JSON. Now the question is, what is JSON? We will talk about that. Now I do a F12. I want to just go forward. And I do a F12 again. I do a F5. I'm just executing. Just go ahead and execute it. Now, if I go here and see, I got hello test 1. What is this hello test 1? It is a combination of hello and test 1. Free feel to take the call.
Actually, I have to go. That's what he's calling me. Shall I go? I'll follow the video. I have a function today.
Okay.
That's it.
Is it a function for jQuery or
No. Not that kind of function.
Okay, just kidding. What time you have to leave?
I need to leave now.
Okay.
What you're going to cover next?
So we're going to, so this was a jQuery post. Then after the jQuery post, we're going to look at Web API. And
you
then
send that PPT, right?
I'll send the PPT.
Okay,
Yeah.
Some videos.
And then also we'll start on SQL Server. So yeah, so I think, yeah. So this one is a JSON result. So the response, we assigned it to saved query selected. So saved query selected was a div in our CSS_HTML which had no value in it. Now when I gave it a value in the output window, which is on the browser, you see here save selected got a value of hello test 1. So just to show you that a response came back from the server to the client. We did a Ajax post, and as part of the success, we got the value in result, whatever was sent from the server. What was sent from the server was JSON data, and that data we are able to show here, show it on the client. We got it in the client, and we're showing it.
Basically, dot text
What about
class result, right?
from last time? Yours? Okay.
I'm sorry.
Whatever we are typing there, like a saved query data selected .txt, whatever we are typing there on the browser, it shows back on that controller, right?
It shows on the controller because we posted the message with that data. Single values is we said it is saved query.val. Saved query is a drop-down box. Saved query is a drop-down box. And saved query.val, when you say, it is the selected value in the UI. What is the selected value in the UI? There are two values here.
Test 1, test 2.
Yeah, so we selected test 1. And then that's the value it takes here. And then puts it in single values. Single values is again populated in form data. Form data is the data that's posted to the controller. Now let me do one thing. Let me do a couple of changes here. So here I will say comma. Comma. I'll say let's say new value colon. I'll say testing. Okay. Now let's execute this again. I'll tell you what's going on. Let's execute it first. This guy. I'm going to change this to test2, and I'm going to click on submit. I got the post happened from Ajax, the post happened to the controller. Let me check my query data. Now it contains test2. Why? Why does it contain test2?
The drop down we still get test2.
Good. So from the drop down, the value in the drop down was test2. Now, in JQuery, in form data, I sent 2 values. What happened to the second value? My second value has a name of new value, and the value of that new value is testing. Let's call it new value is just a name of a variable, like query data. I have another variable named new value, and the value of new value is testing. I did not get this on the controller. Well, there's a reason why it has not come, because we haven't defined a parameter for that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say string new value. Always match it with the name of the parameter that you are giving here. The name of the parameter is new value. You can call this anything. I'll call this
ABC, anything, right?
Yeah, I can call this ABC.
No, just for thinking. So how many data it can take like variable form data equals, right?
Yeah.
So like you did use a curly bracket. How many it can take, like anything?
Yeah, it can take anything. Or you can even, well, you don't want to be specifying so many parameters. Rather, the other option is if you have too many values, you can do a dot convert to string. There is a function called convert to string. You convert this whole thing into a string. And then on the server side, it is received as one string. Then you will convert it back again to a object. So right now, I'll do a vada pav. Let's say vada pav. Anybody likes vada pav?
Yeah, only in Mumbai, right?
So I'm going to build this and then run this. All right, so I will take test2 and say submit. I got test2, I got testing in vada pav. Right? Make sense? Whatever values you assigned here on the client, you can post that values to the server, and the server can either save it in the database, do some processing. So this is to give you an idea that how you send data from the client to the server using JQuery. Any questions so far?
So these codes, what we are writing, Ajax, right? You are saying server has to sit in the IS, right? It cannot sit in the browser.
The browser doesn't know anything about browser doesn't know anything about home, get query data. It knows it's a URL. It doesn't know it as a controller.
Okay.
So
Like
but all this code, the JavaScript code gets downloaded to the client. So they're actually physically sitting in IIS. So when you deploy it on the server, you deploy the CSS files, the JavaScript files, the DLLs, the .NET related DLLs, your application DLLs, all that gets deployed. But when you run it from the browser, your browser downloads the CSS files and JavaScript files along with, and the HTML is rendered on the browser. So your browser doesn't know about your browser only understands JavaScript. jQuery is nothing but JavaScript. So jQuery, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. This is what it understands. It doesn't understand what is a controller. It doesn't know. What it knows is that, okay, there is this URL that these guys want me to send data to. I have to do a post, so I will send the data. So I will show you what's happening here. Let's see, if you do an F12, we can see the operations happening. If I go to network, let's say I do submit. You see a request went, get query data. Now, who was the initiator? It went from jQuery actually. We wrote the code, but the browser is showing that jQuery.-3.3.1.js sent it. Because the Ajax implementation is in this file. We are only calling the API, but the actual implementation is in this file. So if I open this guy, if I see the headers, it says, this is your request header. So it says that it is a accept, it's HTML request. Yeah, so it says that it is sending two values. Query data test2, vada pav testing. That is what it is sending. And it is sending to this URL. That's all it knows. It doesn't know whether this is a Java implementation, whether it is a .NET implementation, it doesn't know. It will send it to this URL, and the URL will handle it. If it is a .NET implementation, it will come into the controller, and it will go into that action method, get query data. So the browser is sending a XML HTTP request to this URL, and these are the two values that are being sent from the browser. Does it make sense? Manish?
I was speaking and on mute.
Yeah, so if you see a browser, right, doesn't know anything. It doesn't know anything about C#, .NET. There's nothing, no traces of C# or .NET. All it knows is HTML, CSS, JavaScript. There's only that much information here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll look at SQL Server.
Mm-hmm. So in the end of the day, Ashwant, any language, any framework is a function, right? F12 and console.
Any language?
Any language in the sense, any client-side REST API or like, end of the day, it's like, it's a function, right? You're writing a function.
I'm writing a function to call the server side. It can be a REST API on the server side. So if I'm using ASP.NET Web API, all those controllers are called, the controller methods are called REST APIs.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting, man.
Sorry?
It's interesting once you do every day, na?
Yeah.
Okay, 5 minutes break, right?
Yeah, 5 minutes. We'll resume at 4.
Okay.
I'll just pause the recording. recording. All right. We saw what is jQuery. Let's go back into SQL Server. Yeah, so SQL Server, there is tables and views, stored procedures, triggers, functions. You have SQL Server installed? If you open up your SQL Server, are you able to open your SQL Server? Yeah. Manish, are you able to install SQL Server?
What is it? CSS? What is it?
SSMS.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going fast, like very fast. 2 more minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah, you need to also install SQL Server Management Studio.
Okay.
And this is SQL Server Management Studio 2012.
Yeah, that's fine. And then there is SQL Server also on your machine.
It should be there. I did it. I don't know.
Let's see. If you come here.
SQL Express.
Your machine name.
Remember you said the prereqs before?
Let's go. Your databases. Create a new database. Go ahead and create a new database. Call it inventory. INVENTORY. Once you create inventory, you should be able to see the inventory like this. Database.
Yeah. So I just do okay, right?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you got inventory there. Now under inventory, if you open up
Tables.
yeah, tables, views, you get all those folders. Manish, are you able to install?
Yes, I did install the SQL 2016. Now I am just putting Management Studio.
Yeah, SQL Server Management Studio.
So do we have to know anything about tables and normalizations and private key?
Yeah. Yes. We will learn that now. We will learn how to create tables. We'll learn about relationships between tables. What's a primary key? What's a foreign key? And then we will look at how to query a table, how to write select statements, how to write insert, delete, how to write join statements, how to write group statements. These are typically the questions that they ask in the interview on SQL Server. Okay. Designing tables, relationship between tables. So we'll go through that now.
I think this code you can copy and paste in the chat window here, right? So that no,
like the code that you're seeing right now here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a big deal. I can do that. Yeah. Let me know once your Management Studio is installed.
Okay.
All right. Vidita, are you able to install SQL Server and Management Studio?
Yeah, I'm downloading right now.
Okay.
Yeah, my son knows development better than me. He can write Java program.
Okay.
And he plays game all the time, right? So there was a game where you punch your opponent, right?
Yeah.
He did a Google search and he downloaded Eclipse and he wrote a program and he wins all the time now.
Oh.
And codes too. He was in third grade, started doing Python. Then he stopped. And now he's a pro in Scratch and all that. If and else and everything.
Oh.
He comes here for robotics, Edison. He
Okay.
finds it so easy. He says it's baby stuff.
Oh.
Because
okay.
what he taught
Mm.
is basically those simple things, you know, if and else, do this, do that. He says, Mom, it's so easy. I already know all that.
Oh, I see. Okay. Is the robotics class over or is it still going?
They'll start the following batch in January for my son. This
Okay.
will be the third, and then they'll go to FL, whatever that competition is in the
Okay.
downtown.
Okay.
But your son can join.
I see.
So how much it costs for robotics there?
It's like they charge $55 for that Edison, that robot, and then they will charge you like $160 for like 8 classes.
8 lakh, yeah.
Yeah.
They come to
160
Dyson
or 200.
teach?
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
And New Jersey is very.
Yeah, I didn't put him before because it's so for us, you know, in rush hour traffic to come. But at least he'll do something. That's why I bring him.
Edison is the name of the robot?
Yeah. And then now they are going to teach him, which I was in the, what is that? Lego thing.
Yeah.
Stone, something like that program. EV3.
Okay.
Legos. You can go on the website and do.
I see.
You can teach him at home.
Oh,
Also.
I see.
Not
Okay.
so difficult.
Okay.
But if you want to come bring him here, it's the classes on Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay.
He comes once.
Yeah.
But if he skips Tuesday, he can come on Thursday.
I see.
So they have little kids come, 9th graders also come.
Oh, I see.
So something for the kids. You
Yeah.
have to keep them busy.
Oh, yeah.
I have to bring him for maths. He's done so badly in maths now. Just plays video games all day.
Manish, you ready? Manish, you ready?
Yeah, actually, you can carry on. Mine downloading is still going.
Okay. Okay.
Wait for that bit of time.
Which one? The installation.
Yeah, 10 minutes sometime.
Is it not there in the prerequisite document? The SQL Server install and management studio?
You did
It's
give
there, right?
us. Yeah, that's why I did it.
Yeah.
That time.
Okay. Now, we'll talk about tables first. To create a new table, so right now we created a new database called inventory. The way you do it is you right click on databases, say new database, and then you can put in the name and click OK. Then it creates the database with the name that you give. Now, SQL Server is a RDBMS database. What does RDBMS mean? It's a
relational database.
Database.
Management system. Yeah. RDBMS. R is relational, DB is database, M is management, and S is system. Now, why is it called relational database management system? Because you can establish relationships between entities. Now, what does entities mean? Entities are nothing but your tables. Every entity, when you're designing a system, let's say you're designing, you're having a company that sells, let's say you're the owner of Kroger, right? Kroger has a number of products that they keep on display and they sell it. Right? Every time somebody comes and buys it, that's there's a sale that happens. Now Kroger also, they have these different vendors from whom they buy things, right? They place orders and the vendors, they provide them the material. Now all this, so Kroger is one entity, well, I wouldn't say Kroger is an entity, but within Kroger itself is the order is an entity, right? Because orders have to be placed, right? You have to capture data about the order placed, date, order number, then with which vendor, right? I have placed. So vendor is also an entity. And then Kroger has all these products, right? Cheese, bread, wine, you name it, pasta, all that. So all those are products, right? All those products are also an entity. If you see, when you place an order, you place an order for a product and place an order with a vendor, right? They're connected, right? So that's why it's a relational database modeling system where you can have relationship between all these different entities. Now here I have, in this example, I have created 3 tables, an order table, a product table, and a vendor table. Now, how did I, and each of these represents an entity. Now, how did I create these tables? I right click on tables and I say table, and then I can start to define the columns in the table.
So right click new table and then columns, yeah.
Yeah, so I can say that, let's say I'm defining order table, right? What will I have? I'll have an order ID, right? Let's say that it's
O should be capital and I should be capital in ID, right?
yeah.
Is this case still sensitive?
Database is I don't think it's case sensitive. So I'm not very sure.
I don't know. I never used to create tables in the SQL.
You can do a Google and see. Okay. I don't think it is case sensitive. So I'll say var car. I'll say like 15 order ID. Hello null. I'll say no. Then I'll do a tab, and it will come to the next column.
What is N? I know VAR, CHAR.
Varchar, Varchar is variable characters, right?
What is N?
N is it's for Unicode, being able to accept Unicode characters as well.
It should not be null, right? Order ID should not be null.
Should not be null.
Yeah.
Similarly, name for an order, I'll say N Varchar. Well, order ID, order name, right? I'll say N Varchar 50. Allow null. I mean, every order should have a name, right? I don't want it to be null, like order description or name. Then order date.
Should not be null, right?
Should not be null. Order date. Order date, I'll give a date time.
Date time also?
Date time is also a data type.
Order date time you said.
Ordered date, and then the type is date time.
Okay. Ordered you said, or your order date?
I think order date makes more sense.
Yeah.
So we can rename it.
Order date. And then date time.
Order date. What else you think we should have here?
It should not be null, right?
It should not be null.
Okay.
Can I order? Can I place an order for without having a product?
No.
Right. I need a product ID, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So there needs to be a product ID. Again, I'll say product ID is nvarchar 15. And hello null. Can I place an order without having a vendor?
No.
I need a vendor too. Vendor ID. Say nvarchar 15. Several IDs. They're not null.
Vendor ID you said, right? Vendor ID.
Yeah.
nvarchar 50 again?
15, 1 5.
Okay.
So whatever we are seeing on the left is all name of the columns, then followed by the data type, and then followed by saying whether null is allowed or not.
The product quantity, product price.
Product quantity. Okay.
I'm just my ideas, right? I don't know.
Quantity, right?
Product.
Quantity order.
So what's the better way to name it? Like it should be start with product because the table is inventory, or we can write it.
Table is order, so you can say, I mean, order quantity, right? I mean, it is going to be related to the product only. You can say quantity as well, QTY.
The product QTY.
You can say product QTY also,
Okay.
or you can say QTY. Quantity, I will say it's decimal.
So you can have as many different tables, right? Employee is the table, inventory is the table, right? In that table, in that database, as many database you can have. In that database, you can have as many tables you can have, correct?
Yes.
So what's the way of naming? Like, okay, tables that goes inside inventory all should start with INV or something like that, or anything?
There is no such should begin with a certain alphabet. It is good to name. So for tables, we generally say TBL. We use the keyword TBL. TBL, name of the table. So TBL order. And after TBL, give it a name that is more, you're able to, just looking at the table, you should be able to say what contents are there in the table.
Mm-hmm. Or can we do we write follow anything like string name, str name? Or
STR.
I don't know if you name it here this way or no.
No, it has to be TBL name.
Okay, TBL name, okay.
Yeah, TBL stands for short for table, stable, and then the name of the table. Okay, so we gave order name, order date, product ID, vendor ID, quantity. Who created the order? Created by.
Okay. Then it will be name, car.
Created by will be, you can say, for now we can say nvar car 50. Who created it, right? And then if anybody has modified it, modified by.
And product price?
Product price will be in the, you mean total quantity, total order price?
Like price for the product, you want to add a different table, you mean?
Yeah, so product table will have the unit price of the product.
Okay.
But the total price, what is the total price of the order can be a column.
Okay.
I may order five packets of bread, right? Or 50 packets of bread in one order. What is the total price of the order? If each bread is like $5, so 15 to 5 is $225 is the total price of the order. So I can say modified by, and then I'll say modified date. So if the order was, the date was modified, order was modified, then what is the modified date? And then the total order price or total price.
What is the modified date? Will be date time again?
Date time.
Okay.
Say decimal.
And none of them has to be at null. No, but nothing is null yet, right?
Nothing is null.
Yeah. And
Say,
then, what did you put the last? Total price.
total price. The other one that so now an order can have there can be multiple products in an order,
Yeah.
right? Not just one product.
Mm-hmm.
And there may be multiple vendors involved in a product, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then Yeah, we will talk about that. That's an interesting conversation, but let's create this table first. Any other columns that you see? Okay. So we will go ahead, and then once this is there, then you right click.
Do we need sales?
Sorry?
Do we need sales?
Sales. Sales of the, you mean as a separate table?
Yes and no, but that's my reasoning now. So you have product table, okay, got it. Vendor table, order table. Now, how many quantity we are selling in that specific month, year, time?
Yes. So that will be selling to customers, right, who visit Kroger.
Right.
How many I sold in the month, which is a sale table. Yes, we can create a sale table. So right now I'm creating, there will be n number of tables. So for our example, we will create a couple of tables to show you how tables are created.
Okay.
So we take an order table. These are typically the fields that go in the order table. So I will name it as TBL order. Is the name of the table.
So where did you right click, Ashwan?
Here on the heading here.
Which heading?
So let me show you. If I say cancel, if I click here, right? Right here.
Oh, okay.
And then say save table 1. Then it will give you the
Okay. And you
option.
named it as
TBL. TBL, that's the knob that you preceded. You prefix the name with TBL as a reserved word.
And what's the next
order?
Order. Okay.
TBL order. And click OK. So at this time, it has gone ahead and created a table called, if I refresh this, I will see a table called TBL order.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So you gave the name as TBL order. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking, how does it take dot?
Yeah, DBO.TBL order. DBO is database owner.TBL order. That's how it creates the table names. Your table name is TBL order.
Why do we have 2 order?
Oh, the other one I created before I came to this training. I was doing something at home. So this is the one we just created. Okay. Now, I'll go ahead and create another table for product. So what are the different columns you see for product?
New table for product.
Yeah.
So different column for the products.
ID, product name, product ID.
Yeah. So I'm going to create a column name called ID, just ID, and say int. And I'll say I have another column called prod ID, which is nvarchar 15. And I say I don't allow null. I'll explain to you why I have the ID column. So let's say that I have a product, right? Let's say Wisconsin cheese. Now Wisconsin cheese, I had it for like a year, and then they stopped producing the product. Now they reintroduce. So when they stop producing the product, I will make this product inactive in the system, right? Let's say that they reintroduce the product. So when they reintroduce the product, then what do? Should I give it a different product ID, or should I keep the same product ID that was there previously?
I think new.
A new product ID?
Yeah, why keep old?
Because the old one, yeah, go ahead.
Can we not map it like a primary key and?
Yeah, we will. I mean, that's the next thing we will do. But the question was having ID column and a product ID column. We are having 2 columns here. So for simplicity purposes, let's do one thing. Let's get rid of this. I think that's a.
It will be confusing, no?
Well, it's actually it's not. I mean, in real production scenarios, we need to think about all these scenarios. Like, what if the product gets reintroduced? But for our discussion, we'll simplify it. We don't need to go that. So product ID, prod name. Prod name, I'll say nvarchar.
It should be 2, right? Just in case if the product got deleted.
Should be 2.
Right. If just in case the product got deleted.
You mean they discontinued the product?
Yes.
So if they discontinue the product, then we will make the product inactive in the system. We will have a is active column, and which will be a bit. Bit is true or false.
Okay.
Bit is 1 or 0, right? So it means true or false.
Okay, which one is the? You have 3 things, right? Product ID.
Product ID, product name.
Okay.
And then don't allow null. We'll talk about the is active thing a little later. We'll put it as the last column. So for now,
I just put nvarchar 15 everything.
15.
50.
I mean, an ID will probably not be that long, right?
Yeah.
50 characters you don't need, so you can save some space.
Sometimes on barcode they have long.
The product ID.
Yeah, that's
that's possible that sometimes you have long. Yeah. It's okay. You can even put it as 50.
Product ID, product name, then last.
Then what else do we need? Product ID, product name. What else? Does product unit price for the product? So I'll put it as decimal. 10,2. And then I'll put what is the unit of measure for the product?
Product quantity.
Product quantity.
Unit of measure, UOM.
Yeah. Product quantity will come in the order, right?
Okay.
Here we are maintaining information about each product.
Okay.
Oh, you mean like what is the current available quantity of the product?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Sorry.
Unit of measure is, let's say, pounds, right? LB. I'll say like nvarchar. Let's say 5. Let's say available quantity. Let's say decimal. 10,2. Any other fields?
See, so we have product ID, right, for the product. What about transaction ID? People are buying it, right?
Yeah, that will become a sale.
Okay.
So that will become a different table. So this is right now a table to store all the products that are in the store. We are not getting into sale yet.
Okay.
Okay. So unit price, unit of measure, available quantity, and then I'll put is active or not. So sometimes the product may become inactive after some time. They may discontinue it.
Is active.
Is active true or false? So now we have all these different columns in that table. We have the column names, the data types. Let's look at the data types. So we have nvarchar. Let's start from the top. We have a lot of data types. So begin, binary, bit, character, date, date time to decimal. So I will touch upon the important ones. The others we really don't need
active,
to.
What did you put the unit? Data type in bit?
Bit. Bit is true or false. So bit is a important one. We use it quite often. Date time, which is the date and time. Date is just the date. Date time to and date time offset it's very special cases. We don't need to look at it. Decimal 18,0 means a decimal value. 18 means the total length of the number. 0 means how many decimal points you want. So if I say 18, 2 means including the digits after the decimal, it's 18. So I can have 16 before the decimal and 2 after. That's what it means. Float is float. Then we can even store images. Then we have integer.
So what is float? Float can be anything?
Float is your float numbers.
Anything, right? Numeric or character?
Well, not character, numeric.
Oh, float is numeric? Then it should be int, right?
Well, with decimal. Float has a decimal value too.
Okay.
Then we have NVAR car. Then we have small date, small money. All this is, and then we can even store XML if you want. Even XML is a data type. So yeah. So right now it's NVAR car 15. That's what we selected. And then we are ready to create the table. So we say right click, save table, say TBL product.
It's just saved by default. It doesn't give me, it's gray. I'm trying to save the table.
Doesn't give you gray.
It gave me gray. That means already saved by default.
Oh, it saved a name.
Yeah, save table order. See? Why is giving that?
Order, right? We are creating. We're creating product, right? So which is the first step.
What is wrong with me?
So we can right click that and then
Save table
save
and
yeah.
product.
Yeah, TBL product.
Ashwant?
Yeah.
The video that you're uploading, so in that, this is the same video you're uploading?
Yeah.
Okay, then we can do it, right? Yeah.
Then right click, I'll say I will create another table called vendor for vendor. What do you think should be in vendor table?
Vendor ID.
Vendor ID, var car, nvar car, 15.
I love 15.
Vendor name. I can say
Vendor.
name.
You must be
Vendor
very good with
city.
numbers, Vivashwan. Right?
Vendor email.
Vendor email, good.
Vendor phone number.
You just put name. You don't put vendor, right? You have to then put just name inside.
Yeah, because the table already is
Yeah.
vendor called vendor, TBL vendor, so we don't.
So you nvar again in name also.
Yeah, varchar will say
I'm putting
nvarchar 50. Yeah, 50 makes sense.
And
People may have long names.
Email.
So is it a good idea to name like VND name, VND email? No? Because when we are writing a code,
yeah,
we can, I don't know if you can refer good way or bad way.
yeah, because always when you're referring to the columns, you will specify the table name as well. So you'll say vendor dot email.
Okay.
Vendor dot name.
Okay.
Vendor ID, name, email, phone number.
Vendor country or whatever.
Varchar 15.
Vendor can be from India and Pakistan anyway, right?
You said phone number. Next one is phone.
Yeah, phone number. Address, you mean?
Yeah.
Address. Say address is 100 characters. Then I'll say city.
Yeah.
I'll say nvarchar 25. Say country.
Address you put 100, right?
Say state and country.
So in real life, Ashwant, are we designing the table on the SQL side, or are we looking at the existing table or SQL as a data source, fetching it and using in our code?
So depends on where the application is in its life cycle. If it's a new application, then we'll have to go and design the tables. If it's a maintenance application, then the tables are already there. And if it's you have to add a new column, then you may have to go and change the table or increase the size of the column. For some reason, you have to go and change the table. So it really depends on where the application is in its life cycle, new development or maintenance. Country. Okay. We got the vendor name, vendor ID, name, email, phone number, address, so all the vendor details.
What about invoicing?
Invoicing the vendor, yeah, that will also come as a separate table.
Okay.
Yeah. So we will be invoicing him for the orders that we place with him, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm going to save this table as a TBL vendor table. Okay. So far we have created 3 tables. Let me get rid of the other tables here. Table, table, table. All right. So we created 3 tables. Now, did we define any keys so far?
Nope.
Nope. So every table should have a primary key. What is a primary key? It uniquely identifies the row in the table. So there may be 25 rows in a table. So in the vendor table, there may be 25 rows, and each row represents one unique vendor. So one of the columns should be a unique, should have a unique key. So what you can do is, so for example, if you open the vendor table, you can select the vendor ID column, right click on it and say set primary key. And then you can see a little key symbol will appear, and that will mark it as primary key.
So we are doing vendor ID as a primary key?
Yeah. So some vendors may not have email, so that you can make it as allow null.
Okay.
Because there may be some there may be some non-savvy computer non-savvy people.
Oh.
So the email is made as allow null, and then you can again right click and save it.
Okay, email is null. Okay, right click and save it.
There is something called foreign key, right? Long time back, I learned something, right? What is that?
Yeah, we will look at that.
It
Now,
says saved. When I say right click on it, it saves this. So I say save text file like that.
okay, there is another setting if you're getting that. So what you need to do is go to tools, options.
One moment, tools, options.
Then go to designers. See here on the screen. Go to designers.
I don't see it. Oh, there it is. And then
Under that, you have a checkbox saying prevent saving changes that require table recreation. Uncheck it.
Okay.
And then click OK.
Okay. Where did my third table go? I have only 2.
Hey.
Sorry.
Did you save it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so let's see. I mean, you expand your tables on the left. Open it. Okay, refresh it. Now, yeah, click on that little symbol here.
This one?
Yeah. Okay, so you have your 3 tables. You see on your left, you have your 3 tables.
Okay.
So whenever you want to get this view, you can right click on that vendors thing and save it. You can see that star, it indicates that it's not saved.
There is a star you see, Ashwin?
So let's say that you make this as, for example, this star that
Mm-hmm.
even then it doesn't know, so you don't have to.
Yeah. Do I need to do it again?
Just right click and say save. Yeah, should be fine.
This also, right?
That's already saved.
Okay.
There's no star, it means it's saved.
Oh, good.
whenever you want to get back that view, just right click on your table
Okay.
here and then say design, and it will open that view in the right side.
Okay.
Now we created a primary key for the product, for the vendor table, right? Similarly, let's create a primary key for the product table.
Okay. So that will be product ID.
That will be, so open it in design view, and that will be product ID. So right click and say set primary key. And then similarly for the order table, say design and set the order ID as the primary key. Now,
I got my SQL. I created 2 tables.
okay,
In the order ID, I can do.
you can right click on it and say set primary key.
Yeah.
Now, what is primary key? The definition of primary key is that it is in that row. If I take any 2 rows, that particular column will be unique. That's the definition of a primary key. Now, what is a primary foreign key relationship? So you can see that in the order table, there is a column called product ID and another column called vendor ID. 2 columns here. But this product ID is coming from the product table. This vendor ID is coming from the vendor table. When we create a record in the order table, I want to make sure that the product ID column is always a value that is there in the product table. If there is no product ID in the product table, or you cannot create a product ID in the order table if that product ID is not in the product table. Similarly with vendor, you cannot create a vendor ID value in the order table if that vendor ID is not there in the vendor table. So your vendor ID is a primary key in the vendor table, and your vendor ID is a foreign key in the order table. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So vendor ID is primary key in the vendor table, but a foreign key in the order table.
Correct. Now,
Can you repeat once again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you repeat once again? I missed it.
So vendor ID is a primary key in the vendor table. Since vendor ID is referred in the order table, vendor ID becomes a foreign key in the order table.
Okay.
Similarly, product ID is a primary key in the product table. Since product ID is referred in the order table, it becomes a foreign key in the order table.
Okay.
And what that means is that I cannot create a product ID in the order table if that product ID is not in the product table.
If I cannot create it in the order table if it's not a primary key in the product table.
Yeah, if that value is not there in the
present,
product.
yeah, so I cannot have it.
Yeah. How do I enforce that? Right. So that's the definition. Now we need to enforce that. How do we enforce that? We right click on the column. Anywhere you can click on the header.
Table order?
In the table order. Yeah.
Okay.
Right click it. And then say relationships.
Yeah.
And then click on add. Now if I click on add, then I get tables and columns. Right? Tables and columns specification, there is an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, this. There's this dots. Click on the dots. And then click on the dots. Now there's a window that comes up that says, the first thing it says is relationship name. and then it asks what is your primary key and what is your foreign key table. So I want to define a primary foreign key relationship for this table. So what should be my primary key table? I want to define it for product ID. What should be my primary key table?
Product.
Product, correct. And what should be below there will be an option to select the column. Which column is it?
Is active.
Product ID.
So that's the primary key.
That's the primary key. What's the foreign key? The foreign key table is TBL order. And what is the what is the column?
Product ID.
Product ID. I click OK. Then it got created. So one.
Just following data properties of column. I just do OK, right? Whatever it gives.
Does not match. The length has to match. So I think in one versus the other. So if I come to.
Yeah, I was just putting
in order, it is 50.
Yeah.
How much is it in the product?
50.
Open up. 50. You have to make it the same. Make this 50. Yeah, the length has to match. The length of both the columns have to match, where we are establishing a primary foreign key relationship.
So now I go back on. And to relationships.
Yeah.
Add.
Yeah.
Check.
The next one, tables and column specification.
Tables, column specification, dot.
Yeah.
The table product is product ID or the product ID. Foreign key table was.
The foreign key table is. Which is your foreign? So we are trying to establish a primary foreign key relationship for product ID.
It says table product. Both of them are saying the same thing.
Yeah, but you need to change it. Yeah. So what will be your foreign key table or your primary key table?
Is the product table product.
Table product, correct.
And then.
And what will be the column? Below that, there's a column also.
Product ID.
Product ID.
And the foreign should be order, right?
Order. TBL order.
Table order. Why it's not giving me an option here?
Not.
It's not.
I think you selected the product table. You're trying to define on the product table. You should define on the.
Oh.
See, you can define it here also. Click that. I'll show you. Click that dot. So you're defining it on the product table. So if you're defining on the product table, what is your primary?
See, it's giving the wrong relationship.
Yeah. You have to go to your order table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was doing on product. I have to go to on order table.
Yeah. There's already one that's sitting there. There's already one that was already there earlier.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Select. Just okay. Delete that one.
This one, yeah.
There's a delete button down. Then I'll select that one. I'll go to tables and column specification. Okay, dot.
Yeah,
what is your primary table?
Is the
product ID. Product. Yeah.
ID is.
Manish, you're okay?
Product ID.
So I'm creating on my.
Okay.
I don't know what tables you have to create, so I'm stuck.
For TBL order and TBL product.
I did. So I can just.
So have you created the tables?
I did for the table order.
Table order and then table product and table vendor also you need to create. 3 tables we need.
What are the columns? I don't know. So because you already created, right? So
Okay, no problems. So for the product order, you already created. So product table product, it is product ID. I'm showing it right now on my screen.
yeah, let me take a screen capture. Okay, got it.
And then for product table vendor, TBL vendor,
Okay, got it.
all right.
This
Once
one
you
more, right?
create the tables, then you establish the relationship by going to the order table by right-clicking on the TBL order table.
So which is the next one we will do, Arshan?
Yeah, one second. TBL order. Yeah. So the second one will be for the for the vendor table relationship.
Okay.
So do again an add.
Okay, so it will be between order and vendor table.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. You click on the dot dot dot.
Okay, so we are right clicking on the order table right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Always right click on the foreign table. And then say relationships.
We are doing between order and vendor now.
Yes.
So order will be again
foreign key table. Because your vendor ID is a foreign key in the order table, right? So your vendor table will be the primary key table. So what I do here is I select vendor and then select the vendor ID as a primary key.
Vendor and vendor ID.
And in the order table, I select the vendor ID as the foreign key.
Then in the order table, I select the vendor ID.
So what is the mapping criteria? I missed your last part. Primary key and foreign key.
Yeah, primary key and foreign key is to make sure that, so when you're entering an order, right, in the order table, you want to be able to, you want to make sure that you always select or you always enter a product ID that is defined already in the product table. If there is no product defined in the product table, you don't want somebody to insert a record in the order table. You don't want somebody to sell a product that's not existing in the at Kroger, right? So to make sure that nobody is selling a product that's not existing in Kroger or has not been entered in the product database of Kroger, we are establishing this relationship.
Got it.
This is wrong. I did it wrong. Because I am doing vendor as a primary key table with vendor ID and foreign key table order as a vendor ID.
Yes, that's correct.
That's correct.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Oh, what about the second one? There was one more, right? What about the order the odd between the product and the order table? There was another. The first one that you defined?
I don't know where it went.
Okay.
I just pressed.
Oh, you have to. Yeah, I think you need to create that again, because I'm not seeing that. So vendor ID is this. You click on add.
Oh,
you need to click on add. You need to create a second one. Yeah. You may have changed the same thing, I think. Go to product this time. Say product ID. Order. And this one you go to product ID. There are two relationships now, right?
Add. No, add is already.
You close and then you save. So that the relationships get saved.
Okay.
Click OK. Yes.
That is interesting.
Yeah, so we are establishing the relationships so that we can maintain data integrity. There's no bad data going into the order table. That's the idea between that's the concept of primary key and foreign keys, and the relationships between primary key and foreign keys.
So we are establishing it between two tables, not all three.
Well, we're establishing between order and product and order and vendor.
Okay, yeah, all three.
Yeah. So wherever the relationship is there, we will establish.
Okay.
Between two tables.
Where there are common.
Where the reference is there. So this concept is also called referential integrity.
Okay.
So when you're referencing one column in another table, to maintain the integrity, we establish this relationship so that you can insert a record in the order table, which has a product ID that's non-existent in the product table.
When you're referencing
a column of another table, of the primary key table in the foreign table. Yeah, I'll take another 5 minutes and then we'll close for today.
Okay.
I'll show you the queries that we can write on tables. So this is how we define tables, right? Now we define tables. Once we define tables, then let's say I select my database and then I say new query. Then I get a new window. And then I say I can do a select star from, and then this table, any table around, I can just drag and drop, or I can type it, and I execute it. So I see these are all the columns that we had created previously, but there is no data, right? Similarly, for product, if I say select star from product, I won't see any data, it's all empty. Same for vendor. Because we don't have any data, right? We only define the tables.
So you just right-clicked on the tables on the top, and then you did.
Yeah, what I did is I opened a query window. So to do that, you click on the database, right?
Database.
On the database, and then you say there's an option to say new query. So you click on that, it opens a new window. And once you have that new window, then you can do, this is the query to select data from a database. Select star from. Star means all columns from the table, TBL order.
Mm-hmm.
But since there's no data in the tables, nothing is written. Now what I'm going to do is, I want to insert some data. Insert into TBL product values. There's a product ID. The first column is product ID. So the product ID is TR123. Then I have, let's see what are the columns. So there's a product ID, then there's a product name. I'll call it New Jersey cheese. Unit price is $2. What is the unit of measure? Pounds. The string. NVARCHARs are all strings. It needs to be in single quote. Decimal is a number, so it doesn't need to be in single quote. Available quantity, again, it's a decimal value. I'm going to say, let's say 100 pounds. And then say is active, yes. So it's a bit. So I can just say 1. It's either 1 or 0. And if I run this query, it says 1 row is affected. If I go select it, if I go select the table again, I see that record got inserted, and I can see it now.
So suppose you have 100 like this.
Supposed to have 100?
Yeah, rows you want to add.
Okay.
Then 100 get inserted.
Yeah, I mean, like you're asking how to do it.
No,
Yeah.
if there are 100, can you do it? That's what.
Yeah, so we'll have to. Generally, we do it from the UI, right? Or we create all the products from the UI, or we can even do a batch insert from the backend. So I can make a. Yeah, I can do. I'll have to write insert scripts and do it.
I didn't get that. Right click on database.
Yeah. So your database is like right here. This is your database. Inventory.
Okay.
The new query. Yeah. So now you should be able to run queries. Now I inserted a record in the product table. Let's insert a record in the vendor table. Now first I have the vendor ID. So I'll say V123. Then I'll say, let's see what are the columns in the vendor table. So I have vendor ID, then I have vendor name. So I say New Jersey Cheese Company. Then I have email. So I'll say Manish.singh at newjersey.com. The phone number is say 248-378-4309. Then I have city, New Jersey. Then I have and just city again. I'm saying New Jersey. State is again NJ. Country is US. All right, I got all the columns now. So I can run this insert statement. Select it, say execute. One row is affected. If I go and check, I should get that one row in here. So now I have one row. Again, if I execute both these select statements together, I have one record for the product table and another record for the vendor table. Now, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and create a record in the order table. The order table is, let's see what it has. The order table has order. Okay, let's select all three. Order table has order ID. So I'll just give it a name. I'll say order 123 order ID. Name is cheese. Order date is today. So I can say get date. We'll take today's date. Product ID. So I need to, what do I need to give here? The PR. If I give 234, let's see if it takes it. And I'll say for vendor ID, I'll say V123, quantity 100, created by, I'll say Ashwan, modified by Ashwan, modified date, I'll give today's date, and total price is $1,000. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'll try to go ahead and execute this statement. It's giving me an error. Insert statement conflicted with the foreign key constraint. The conflict occurred in database inventory, table TBL product, column prod ID. So what happened? Why did it complain? Any guesses? See, what is the product ID I gave? PR234. Do we have such a product ID?
No.
Um,
Product ID I have is PR123.
yeah.
So since we established that relationship, it now checks. Now I correct the product ID, but the vendor ID, let's say I screw it up. I put V1234. I try to enter up again. Same problem. says there is a foreign key constraint, TBL order, TBL vendor, there's a conflict. Go and check the vendor table, vendor column is vendor ID. So there is again a conflict. So let's say this time I do it the right way, V123. Yay! Now it worked, looks like. So now the record got inserted in the order table. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we'll take a break for now. So this is the insert statement, and then there we saw the select statement. There's also a delete statement if you want to delete it. The delete is delete. If I try to delete,
what time you guys are here?
We are leaving.
You guys are leaving, right?
Yeah. I don't think there's a class. It happens many times. You should contact the person, the teacher.
No, not the class. We rented this place for our get together from 5 o'clock. So I just want to know, whoever told me that the facility will be remain.
yeah, it will be open.
Yeah.
So you guys will be leaving maybe within 15 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 10
Okay,
minutes.
but it will remain open.
Yeah.
We'll leave it open.
Okay, thank you. We'll be back around 6 o'clock.
Okay, sure. So if I want to say delete TBL order, where order ID equal to, or let's say TBL product, where prod ID equal to PR123. Will it work?
PR123?
Yeah.
Why not?
She says it can't do it.
It will not work. We are 1 to 3.
Because, yeah, why you think it did not work?
Just because nobody, I can't see that one to say that thing.
The foreign key is different, no?
The define thing is there different.
Yeah, so the PR123 is being referenced in the order table.
Yeah.
So let's say if I delete the product record, with product ID 123, then does this record, is this order ID record valid anymore?
No.
Because there's no more any product called PR123.
Yeah.
So if I have to delete a record, if I have to delete the product PR123, I have to first delete the order, and then I can delete the record from the product table. Are you able to see why the reason? Okay.
Yeah. So if you have 100 order ID like that, then you have to delete 100.
Yeah. Because otherwise this record will become invalid, right? See, your record, your order record is referencing a product called PR123. But we are trying to delete the PR123 from the product table, which means once you delete it, there is no such product in the system. But then how is my order referring to a product with product ID PR123 when there's no such record in the system? There's a bug in the product.
That is, of course, that is the thing. Something is coming from somewhere.
A bug in the program. So that's why it doesn't. So that's why it doesn't allow. So it does. That's why it says that, hey, I cannot allow you to delete a product from the product table because that is being referenced in the order table.
Okay.
Now you get it?
Yeah.
So if I go and delete the order table, let us say, delete EBL order, where order ID equal to OR123. So I'll first delete the order. Successful. Now if I run the queries again, there is no record in the order table. Now I go and delete the product from the product table. Happily deleting, no problem. Because there is nothing referring to the product. So I can delete the product now right?
But if it is, it will stop.
It will stop because it is maintaining the integrity of the system, right? So that's your select, insert, and delete statements. So there is also join statements and group by statements, which we will see in the next class. So meanwhile, I'll send you the assignment.
Let's finish that.
Really? You need more? You need time to finish that?
I from Friday. Friday is the only day I am free. Till Thursday I'm like occupied, but Friday and Saturday morning I'll be working on that assignment.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Then let's finish that because I'm so behind.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can send it. I don't know about these people if they're going to do it from homework.
Maybe the same thing. I will do some more enhancements. I will add to that same form, right? And then you can work on that same form.
Okay.
If you can add, Ashwant, like 1 or 2 screen capture, like, okay, new project, new solution, project, item. That's it, done. That way.
You mean in GitHub?
Not GitHub, the screen capture, whatever you, okay, this is good, right? One screen, in the Visual Studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one solution file you added, like.
Yeah.
Or you can upload that solution file itself. That's enough, right?
Yeah, I can upload the solution file. Yeah. Any questions?
No, it's good, man.
Okay, so yeah, work on the assignment. Take time out and work on the assignment. That will then you'll come up with more questions. That'll help you come up with more questions when you try and explore it yourself. You'll get more questions, and then we can talk. So you also wanted to do a class on Tuesday, right? So you good with that?
Yeah.
So we'll set up our class
Sure.
from. I'll do it from 8 to 9.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll set up something from 8 to 9, and then we can go over the areas that you want to go over. So you can come up with the areas that you want me to cover from 8 to 9, and then we can do that.
So what you see? I know little bit, but for her, whatever you think is important that you did for others and need to be covered.
Okay. So do you want the like? Where are you? What do you think you're missing? Like, are you able to catch things fast, or which areas you think you want a refresher? Like, you want me to go over again?
Vinita. Okay. So, like.
Yeah, I can take more than one class. That's not a problem.
The thing is that in my case, I think I'm gonna study 2-3 days and let's see what happens. I didn't study anything. So the thing is that I have to start from the beginning. How like we can open Visual Studio, new, like how to choose the file, how to do the naming of the file and everything, starting from the basic.
Okay.
So that is, I think my approach is to start from the basic and because if somebody doesn't know what is Visual Studio, so like how to open the Visual Studio and these are the things, and go from there. And when you save, where to save, which folder you are saving that, like the item. These are the things,
Okay.
like.
So do you want to like on Tuesday? So you want to be able to read yourself, and then on Tuesday you want to?
Yeah, I will let you know that. I'm gonna put some time because I was so busy. I didn't put any time on going to the video and everything, So now I'm hopefully I will put some time and I will let you know also.
Okay, so you can let me know, and either before or when we have that meeting, you can let me know, and then we can go over it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, not a problem.
Thanks, man. We'll do it this time. Assignment I will set today also.
Okay, sounds good. All right, I will upload the recording then, and If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email or ask the question in the WhatsApp group, and I will answer that.
Sure.
Okay, sounds good. Talk to you later.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Okay, bye. Bye, Vinita.
Bye.
Stop this.